the truth is that actually, thanks to I'd like to thank the Honourable Lady for her standard charm. The truth is, this government isn't doing anything to bring down inflation. This government is stoking inflation. First, we had above-inflation pay rises for the unions. Then, we had a budget which the OBR said would increase inflation. First, we had above-inflation pay rises for the unions. Then, we had a budget which the OBR said was going to push up inflation.
An unexpected twist has hit the Labour Party, throwing it into turmoil and confusion. One of the MPs, seemingly committed to the cause, launched a fierce attack on Keir Starmer, challenging his approach to critical issues. What was meant to be a show of unity quickly devolved into an open conflict, revealing significant internal rifts to the public. The atmosphere is charged with tension, and a troubling question looms. Is Starmer's leadership disintegrating before our very eyes? How will this clash impact the future of the Labour Party? This isn't mere speculation. We have shocking video evidence. In these clips, you'll witness how Starmer's authority in Parliament is being called into question, and it's truly striking.
Good evening, Vanessa. Yes, it really is shocking news, isn't it?
She doesn't mince her words, does she? Blimey.
She really doesn't. It is absolutely a searing resignation letter from Rosie Duffield. So she's the MP for Canterbury, previously of the Labour Party. Now she says that she's going to sit as an independent, and it's less than 100 days since the party won the election. I cannot remember an MP quitting just a few weeks after they have won such a huge majority in the House of Commons. She's accusing Keir Starmer today of sleaze, of nepotism, saying they are off the scale. In this searing resignation letter published just a few minutes ago, she's hit out at the Prime Minister for accepting hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of freebies at the same time as cutting winter fuel. It really is quite damning.
Rosie Duffield launched a scathing attack on Keir Starmer in her resignation statement, accusing him of bias and greed, and her words struck like a thunderbolt for the Labour Party. She openly expressed her shame over his actions and those of his inner circle, which have caused irreparable harm and humiliated the party. This public criticism is merely the tip of the iceberg, as discontent simmers behind closed doors, like a storm ready to erupt. MPs are starting to lose faith in Starmer's leadership style, his political choices, and his ability to connect with voters. The party that was once expected to unite under his guidance is now fracturing into factions, with loyalty shifting like sand slipping through fingers. The Labour Party's public image has taken a devastating hit, leaving many voters who once held high hopes deeply disillusioned. The party that vowed to restore trust in politics is now seen as a symbol of political hypocrisy. Recent opinion polls present a grim outlook for Starmer and the Labour Party. Public support is plummeting, and many voters are openly voicing their dissatisfaction with the party's direction. Political analysts caution that these internal conflicts could severely jeopardize the party's prospects in upcoming elections. Labour is desperately trying to rebuild trust with its base, while also aiming to attract a broader electorate. As if this crisis of confidence weren't enough, Labour is now caught in a fierce debate over economic policy. Starmer's economic vision is facing significant challenges within the party, opening a new front in this internal struggle, and the situation is becoming increasingly fraught.
Do you think he has a problem with women?
I'm afraid I do, yes. I mean, I've experienced it myself, but most backbenchers that I'm friends with are women, and most of us refer to the men that surround him, the young men, as the lads, and it's very clear that the lads are in charge. They've now got their Downing Street passes. They're the same lads that were there briefing against me in the papers and other prominent female MPs. And, I was really hoping for better, but it wasn't to be.
The pressing question now is whether Starmer can navigate this turbulent situation, or if his leadership will continue to unravel at an alarming pace. Picture the leader of the Labour Party disappointing everyone by advocating for significant cuts in government spending. This isn't just an unexpected shift, it's a genuine shock for many, and it's precisely the approach Starmer is proposing in his security policy. As Labour grapples with this unforeseen and troubling direction, we must ask, does this signal the end of the traditional Labour economy, or is it a necessary evolution? His vision, which emphasizes security and economic growth, sharply contrasts with the party's historical focus on government spending and social support. Starmer has candidly warned that those anticipating increased spending from a Labour government will be sorely disappointed. This bold stance has struck a blow to many loyal party supporters who feel betrayed and abandoned. The debate over government spending and taxation has escalated into a battleground of intense internal conflict, and Starmer's comments on competitive taxes have only intensified the situation. His policies aimed at economic growth and security have faced harsh criticism for being at odds with the fundamental values of the Labour Party. Critics have ominously cautioned that such policies could alienate crucial voters who expect social justice and dependable public services. The tension is reaching a boiling point, and the future of the party hangs in the balance. How much longer can the Labour Party withstand this storm?
This morning, we had city economists, real economists, Mr. Speaker, saying that next year inflation would hit 3%. Does the Right Honourable Lady agree that this government's decisions mean higher inflation for working people?
Mr. Speaker, I'll ask the honourable gentleman, 11.1% or 3%?
However, the issue goes beyond the dissatisfaction of a single parliamentarian. It serves as a troubling indication that a genuine crisis is unfolding within the Labour Party. Are you curious about how things will progress? Keir Starmer's leadership is swiftly unravelling, and this is happening right before our eyes. What started as a hopeful new direction has quickly transformed into a series of contradictions that have eroded public trust and sparked internal discord. At the centre of this trust crisis is the shocking revelation that Starmer received clothing valued at an astonishing £332,000 from Lord Canio, the leader of the Labour Party. This extravagant gift raises significant concerns about transparency and ethical standards within the party. This is not merely a coincidence. It represents a clear deviation from Starmer's initial promises of integrity and starkly contrasts with his commitment to forge a new path. The gap between his words and actions has become glaringly evident, and MPs from his own party can no longer overlook it.
We've already talked about Ukraine, Mr. Speaker. It was Ukraine and COVID that drove up inflation. This government is doing it to the British people. High tax, high inflation, low growth, low reform. There's a word for that, Mr. Speaker. It's Starmerism. Yesterday, like many honourable members on this side of the House, I spoke to farmers from across the United Kingdom. Some of them families who farmed their land for centuries, elderly men in tears, children worried about their parents, all of them worried that their way of life is about to be destroyed. What would the Right Honourable Lady like to say to them?
Numerous Labour MPs have strongly criticised Starmer's economic stance, voicing serious concerns that it strays too far from the party's foundational principles. They worry that an exclusive focus on economic growth, while neglecting wealth redistribution and government spending, could spell disaster for the party in the upcoming elections. Rosie Duffield's resignation and her scathing remarks have only intensified the situation. Her allegations of bias and greed have revealed significant fractures within the party, with tensions now at a breaking point. What will the ultimate confrontation in Parliament entail?
If the government isn't going to reverse this terrible policy, will the Right Honourable Lady at least commit that there will be no further increases to inheritance tax and no further reductions to agricultural property relief or business property relief in this Parliament?
Well, Mr. Speaker, he talks about the facts, and I absolutely stand by the figures the government has set out. And the vast majority of estate owners will be totally unaffected. He wants to talk about the figures, Mr. Speaker. I will be crystal clear. The vast majority of estate owners will see no change and pay no tax on land passed on valued at £1 million. Couples can pass on £3 million, Mr. Speaker, tax-free, and those above the thresholds will pay only half the normal rate and can pay over 10 years interest-free.
In a separate development, the Labour Party has recognised a significant error that could inflict lasting harm on British culture. Labour MPs have raised alarming concerns that pub culture and national identity may be jeopardised by a new bill currently under discussion in Parliament. This legislation, which seeks to revise alcohol regulations, could empower future governments to restrict the amount of alcohol consumed under the guise of regulation. Einstein. There are fears that this could result in the replacement of large beer mugs with smaller ones, sparking a backlash among MPs and pub enthusiasts who are advocating for stronger protections for traditional beer mugs.
Let's look at the facts. A typical mid-sized 360-acre family farm in the constituency of my right honourable friend for Thirsk and Moulton. They've spoken to their accountant. Their new liability because of this government is £500,000. That's 12 years' worth of profit. When this generation passes away, that farm will become totally unviable, and it's just one of thousands and thousands of similar farms. It's clear the government hasn't got its facts right. The Central Association for Agricultural Valuers, the real experts in this field, say so. The NFU says so. They're shortly to publish a report showing that 75% of all commercial farms will fall above the...
As the debate unfolds, the future of the Labour Party is more precarious than ever. Starmer's leadership is teetering on a tightrope as disputes over donor contributions, allegations of dishonesty, and controversial economic policies have significantly eroded his authority. His security policy has alienated the party's traditional base, leading to internal rifts that show no signs of being resolved. Amidst rising discontent and declining public support, Starmer faces a daunting challenge to unify the party and regain the trust of voters. The Labour Party now stands at a crossroads. Will Starmer's vision for a modern Labour prevail, or will the party revert to its traditional values? The answer to this question could shape the future of British politics for years to come. What do you think about this video? Share your thoughts in the comments, and see you next time.